Welcome to another episode of FQCrazySexyCool. Crazy. Crazy.
Sexy.
Ooh, cog.
Okay.
I live for that. T-shirt the way that was cute.
Bitch, you know that was a rite of passage coming in the scene, bitch. You had to learn the pig Latin, bitch.
Yes.
Bitch, like, you know. What's up, y'all?
What's up?
I'm making it.
Girl, you just
I'm
got off
making
a
it.
flight.
Look.
You always
Work,
get
you
on
know.
flights, bitch. I know that's right.
I'm
Get
about that
bag.
bag.
Get that bag,
And
too.
you, my love.
Oh, the cat's out the bag.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
On going to Broadway.
Going to Broadway.
And the newly minted Jellicle Cat.
This is big, y'all.
Thank
This
you.
is big. This is
Listen.
history for us.
It didn't go quite as
I thought something was falling on me. I'm gonna fuck y'all up. Oh shit! Thank you. Oh, that really was a surprise, bitch. Cause
You was like,
y'all turned it. Bitch, I thought something was falling on me. I'm like, what the what is going on? Oh my God! Thank you so much.
I mean, we celebrate everyone in our voices, so it's only right that we celebrate you as well. Congratulations.
Thank
Yes,
you.
this is
I'm
big.
glad we could finally talk about it because bitch, it was giving. We kept making hints and shit. But yeah,
An
they had to-
iconic moment for an icon.
Thank you.
Okay, history as always.
Shout out to all the people who was outside the millions and millions of people who was outside for the No Kings rally, protest or.
It wasn't a protest.
Semantics.
It's not semantics. I think that has come up a lot in conversation, and I think to be clear, that a rally is organizing together to raise awareness about a conscious thing that a lot of people believe in, and it's raising awareness so for those who are not aware, they become aware. So that's what that is. A protest is a whole lot different. It's like a lot of call to actions, demands, stuff like that. So, having No King's Day, especially, having that march around the world be so impactful, peaceful, with minimum arrest, if any. In retrospect, like when you during a protest and a demonstration has a lot of call to actions, a demand, an ask. So this was different, but it was equally
was this
important.
not a demand?
It was a statement. We don't need no kings in America, and Donald Trump is not a king.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we come together like when it really matters.
But I think that
to stop this is just going on.
I think that people are fed up,
Yeah,
and
I
I
hope
think
so.
that we will start to see layers of activism and activations. There will be times for demonstrations. There will be time for protests. There will be time for radical actions. There will be time to raise awareness and come together, and all of it works. All of it is necessary. There's been a conversation about why is it necessary? Why does it have to happen? Because it does, and it's needed.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
But what's up? How was your weekend?
Well, to start this off, I was in Australia. I had to get my girl some skincare.
Aussie.
Oh,
This is really cute.
That's funny.
what you trying to say?
Nothing.
No, bitch, I'm all for it, bitch.
I know, I love it. I
Because I
can't
need to
wait.
stay off of TikTok.
Of course,
bitch, 'cause,
she would ask
You
that.
know, okay.
Miss Insecure.
But you know, I got the Asian stuff for blood.
Oh my God. I was just asking our fabulous
man.
makeup artist
These are
about
everything.
skincare
These-
products.
oh my
And then
God.
look,
It's just
you
Thanksgiving gift.
call it out and the universe provides.
Yes. I'm a gift
Amen.
girl. I love giving
You
gifts.
are. You love
I
giving
love.
gifts.
Thank
But
you.
this weekend was really, really fab. I felt like this month for me, October, I was kind of nervous because making sure that I had to be back on set after flying from Frankfurt, Germany, then I had to get right back on the flight coming here. Then I had to go straight to Australia, come back, go to San Diego and make sure I was here today. So, but I know, I'm excited and happy for myself, but I do, it was like, damn, it was a lot.
And I think a lot of
You need to
people
rest.
don't
You
get
need to take
to
a week
see
and
that.
lay out.
Yeah, sometimes people don't get to see the dedicated commitment that you have to your craft as well. Like we do a lot of different things, and it's like kudos for like doing all of that, because those opportunities are coming few, far, and in between for women like us. So the fact that you are actually to still be in demand that way and still go out there and be willing to
stop
create.
playing.
I was like, last night when we was in the I was like, so she was like, I got one more class. I was like, tonight? That was last night, right before you had to be here in the morning.
It's one of those things. I'm sorry, sister. No, it's one of those things that I wanted. I spoken to, we speak about manifestation. These are things that I'm speaking. So I ain't dropping no ball.
Okay, bitch,
I'm going to it. I'm, you put it on the table. I'm taking it. Like, I'm ready and I'm excited for this more than anything. But shout out to San Diego. I have to give them Australia. Had a good time. No, I have to give a little bit for my girl. Shout out to it was this young lady. She loves you in Australia. Like she loves you. And I met this beautiful girl. She loves you. And these two, it was twins. They love you in Germany.
What's up, twins?
Some ladies.
But when I was in San Diego, I just realized I was at a sense of peace. Like that was in all the states that I've been to in America, being there, I felt so relaxed and calm, and I felt like I haven't been like that in a while. I noticed that sometimes. Especially in New York, I'm waiting for something to happen next. And the very second, something is about to happen. We were just talking about that on the last taping. And just being in San Diego, it was my first time actually hanging out with people. And I really got to enjoy. It was really, I feel like it's the jewel of America, the secret weapon.
Speaking about working and advocacy and inspiration and inspiring, we have Angelica Ross.
Baby.
Nice.
Baby. What?
Garçon.
The gold mine is here.
Wait, garçon.
What is it? Leve. Garçon. I don't know what the first word is.
She mixing leve in with garçon. It's something because it means man. Doesn't it mean man?
It's laver.
I did not say
laver.
It's laver.
Laver.
What does that mean? Doesn't that mean garçon mean man? Like something like...
I have no idea. Let's ask Angelica.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we got the doll in the building. Oh, what's goody? Don't you forget to like, share, and comment, because you are now watching Femme Queen, crazy, sexy, and cool.
So I'm going to ask this question before we go into the tough question, the tough topics today. Look how she's scared.
Ready for it?
Our production is on his hands and knees, baby.
Don't say the wrong thing.
Okay, so I'm going to go here first before we go there. So, ladies, and so to my Butch Queen community, this is not shade. This is just a question. Do you believe that Butch Queens have given our juice to cis women in the industry?
So what do you mean by giving our
juice? Like our aesthetic, who we are, like how we bring it, our work ethic, all of those things. Because growing up in ballroom, those are like our partners when it comes to sense of, how we bring it, and the reason this question came up because we were just talking, it was a bunch of femme queens. We was out in Australia. We had a fab night. Shout out to Ella, shout out to Kendall and JC. We had such a great time, and we were just talking about stuff like this. It was really cute.
I think that, I don't know who brought it, I don't know who's taking it or whatever, but I do think that there's definitely more of a femme queen aesthetic with industry, with the lashes, the big hair, the bodies, the girls was doing that for a very long time. I don't like to get into who started what, who started this, but I know that when you talked about the girls from back in the day, bitch, you thought body and hair and all of that. And that's definitely what...
Very big, very bold, and very beautiful. The girls are big.
I think that it speaks to the influence, right? I think there's a positive and a negative. I think that it's not so much of them giving or giving them our light or our things that, ultimately originated, like the hyper-feminization, the dramatics, the glam and all of that. I think
who doesn't like a lot of hair and body rolling all over the place. Shout out to, what's her name? Rest in peace. Sorry, for cutting you off.
Go ahead.
What's her name? They used to put Femme Queen performance. Katrina Best Friend.
Who?
No, Katrina's best friend that passed away.
Oh, Lola.
Oh,
Lola. Shout out to Lola.
Shout out
She's
to
like,
Lola.
ooh, that's like
Rest in peace,
a
Lola.
bunch of hair body oil all over the place.
Well, I think more or less it speaks to our influence, the impact that our culture has on other, industries. Like we're traveling as a result. We're doing things because of that influence. So quite naturally, the tools that they would have here, they would bring it with them in their toolbox.
They take from ballroom. They've been taking from ballroom
But
forever.
then that goes to the question of
Oh my
why
God,
we
they've been
getting
saying
left,
that.
why the
Why we
girls,
getting
but
left
then
behind.
the girls are getting left behind when it's just like, you
But
decide to
even
use
with
my
our
pen.
language, like it always happens. Like even with the language, like that, comes from our scene and stuff, and then they take it, and then you have a cis person or cis woman make it like the popular thing.
Clock it.
Clock it. Like all of that type of stuff. A lot of times, like the language is taken, and then it becomes a thing. Like even like the way even gay men were dressing a certain way, and now it's just the standard. Like they're saying, "Oh, this straight guy is wearing dresses, bitch." You had people
Who styled?
like
But you got to
what?
think
Like
about
this-
it. Who styled him?
Yeah, the people they take
That's
it.
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
they
I
take
feel
it.
like the girls get left behind when it comes to these conversations. And we have those conversations, and you definitely was one of those girls that was kind of like, yeah, we get left.
But here's, I definitely, so
There's nuance
I don't think
to this conversation.
it's a lot of, and you know me, I like to always speak to that nuance of it. What I want to say is that why does it always have to come from a place of feeling like we're left out? I think that to the person, wait a minute. So to the person who might ask, because I always want to try to look at it in a different perspective.
But look at it from yours.
So to the person who would ask, well, why do you think they shouldn't take advantage of this opportunity to be creative in that space if the girls are not giving them the opportunity?
No,
which
that's
also
beautiful. That's
leads to a
beautiful.
conversation of when we work within community, how they sometimes fail us inherently. So they go and they take these opportunities, and I understand and I see the word erasure up there, and I know that we talk about erasure, but for me, it's just that why do we always have to come from a place of like we're being erased?
It's a place of question. It's a place of understanding. It's a place that when you see, if I come from, I'm big about giving out a knowledge. That's one reason I love to travel the world, is because I think knowledge and learning, I've always, and I said in my class last night, the reason I say names when I give like an example is because I want you to understand that you can do it too, that this person started from where you came from. Knowledge and understanding, our names are left behind because a lot of times they don't say our names. They don't speak
I
about the
agree with
girls.
you.
Yeah, you always say talk about
They don't speak about our names. They don't
Exactly.
say our names enough. It's not about hiring this person. It's about learning where we
Where it
come
came
from
from.
and who started it. It's about the knowledge of it.
Absolutely.
Because that is why they're able, even
in ballrooms,
it
they
even
do
goes
that.
it even goes into, you see what they're trying to do in the Black community. They're trying to get rid of everything. So stopping knowledge to the next person of your brother, your sister, is you're going to be lost and not even knowing a couple years about racism.
So here's the thing. Like, I agree with you, but I always try to add those other
get it.
questions.
No, I
But
understand.
here's something that when we say that we go out and we educate and we teach people because we want them to know about us, there's another conversation being had around like how, the European chapters and other cultures are stealing our culture, but yet in the same essence, we give them the tools and then they steal. So I get what you're saying, because there's this big conversation about, colorism and how other communities appropriate ballroom and, all these things. So at what point do we start to figure out a strategy or uphold where it's important to name drop? It's important to understand where those things come from. It's important to name those names. How are we having those same conversations when it's okay for us to educate, but then we say they're stealing from us?
Well, I don't say those type of things. I think that's a lack of knowledge as well. But because I think it's important to know ballroom was started because of community. It started a place where I can do what others are doing with my people. And that should go anywhere. It don't matter if it's Australia. It don't matter.
Some things.
I don't think when it comes to for me, that's like someone telling the people that started ballroom to stop. and tell them not to do it because you don't deserve a space. I feel like everywhere you go should have a space to come together and enjoy. And it's a respect thing for them to actually call out the legends and icons.
I like
and
the
call
fact
out
that they bring people like,
yes, I love
different
that.
people from. I think that they should continue to do that.
That's like, okay, at least they want to learn where it comes from.
And if ballroom had more structure, it always comes back to ballroom having more structure.
Talking about
if they had more structure, then they wouldn't be able to just steal things and all of that. You would have to have certain people come and teach certain things, and just like any other sport or whatever, like you have to have like specific things in place so that they can follow suit. But there's really nothing that you could like, it's not really structured like that.
It's a nice thing they do.
What's the next thing?
Yeah. So go ahead.
No, I mean, I agree, right? I'm just like, because these conversations come up and there's like, and I'm glad you mentioned that word. There's someone be like, we need to gatekeep. But then like when you ask different people in different voices, they'll be like, well, I love that ballroom is expanded. I love that it has a global impact. But then there are others who be like, oh no. Or like the question that was proposed, why are they taking from us without acknowledging us? My thing is, where is the structure that we begin to have a layer system of where we can gatekeep certain things? And when people are educating, like, how do you find that balance in that conversation?
I don't think you really can, because it's more like, if we're on YouTube, if I just seen what you did, so if I just see what it's to me, it's a respect thing. It shows me how much you respect our community.
But I seen somebody write something the other day that said, damn, did I take that quote? And they said we were the only culture that basically give props to outsiders who take stuff from us and then they run with it. Like, there's no other culture that like they accept like somebody coming inside doing what they do and they give this person so many props.
That's what you call oppression. They built us to be put in a space where they allowed, just go over there and take from them. It's going to be easy. They're not going to fight back anymore. We already broke them down.
We picked those people up.
They broke us down already.
We picked those people up, so we
celebrate them.
Right, we celebrate them, and then like they
I was
run
watching
with
a clip the other day. This boy, I'm not going to say his name, I'm not going to be funny. He was voguing, and you can even use those for those dancers. Like a white guy will come into the cookout, dance, the same dance that the professional black artists just did and carried, annihilated.
They do it in ballroom.
But the white person that just came in and did the same thing, but less.
They just
attempted. And it's like, oh my God. But
that's what the time. They do it in ballroom. They are so much harder on, I don't care who, whatever, they are harder on. You could have virgin performance and you will have this black child come and the black child do whatever and they be like, oh, he's all right. Or they might even chop them. You have this as someone who is other or in a different race or whatever, and it's like, bitch, it's sickening, punishing. Oh my God, they turned it, and I'm like, bitch, they just did the same. What happened? Like, what I missed? Like,
I see it online.
We're so used to doing that
the time.
Yeah.
It's like a recovering thing.
It speaks to the, like you said, the lack of structure. Also, like I said, these things uphold colorism. These things uphold popularity. These things open up a whole shitload of different conversations within our culture, which I know which one of the conversations that we're going to have today is another hot topic in our culture that has always existed. And these things that you're saying, like picking the one person over the next and colorism existence, these have been conversations that we have been having
forever.
But
it is. That's a part of it too. But it's also because the black woman has been a blueprint for so many things. Yeah. But we allow people like, and I don't just not saying names because I do love these people and I love you. I mean, well, whatever. But like you will have Kim K come, with this body now and this is we love body, we love or they put on a do-rag, bitch, a white t-shirt, bitch, like tank tops and stuff, things that we have been doing forever. And then you have a fashion house because you have this girl representing it, and now it's just the creme de la creme.
They were put into position to make millions forever.
Yeah, like come on.
Because you got to think about it. These people are put into positions. We have to really sit back, first of all.
But we drink
our black community, I always say, that's why healing. I'm big, y'all know y'all, I'm very big for
Mother
healing.
Heal.
Because it's not just the fact of you need to see what's going on in the world. Like, we all do. Like, we all need to understand what has happened because we are moving it along, even the knowledge of giving it to each other, like the knowledge of what has done, and we need to go up for that white person and not that black. But that's still oppression. That's still knowledge that we're learning. But let's go to the next topic.
I just hope that these times make us realize it more. It seems like maybe people are waking up, and I feel like that we need to start learning to support your own.
And again, I will always say this. I stand by that we have to begin to do it together. This is not to divide. This is a general conversation.
Because she says the together thing. What does that mean?
I keep trying to tell you that our, like, how we fight, how we move, how we inform and educate must be a universal thing where we're all moving this, as you would say before, the goalpost forward. Yes, prioritize, and I believe that we need to prioritize our Black community. We need to prioritize us unlearning some of these indoctrinations.
A white person marching with you does nothing for us as a community.
Him
going into a space that we can't go into and speaking, I agree. I'm sorry. A white person going into a room that we can't access and speaking up for us does so much more than him marching alongside of us. I love you. Thank you for marching with us. Yes, but I'm talking about the realistic part of it.
But they do that, right? And it's all up into who you have connected to you and who you have in those rooms, because there are Black people that go in the room and say some off the wall shit that don't represent us correctly. So let's be clear. Let's just be clear until we start.
That makes no sense.
Until we start, the voices are coming from inside.
That's what
I'm
talking
about accessing a space together if you support the Black community.
Access space and don't access it.
But we're not.
You said moving the goalposts, but that's what you're doing. You're talking about Black. That's white.
Because you're the same person who will say something about Black on Black crime, and I have a problem with we start drinking. I'm just saying, you're saying, but there's Black people who are in the room, and we know that, but that's not what the conversation is right now. The conversation is what
I'm
she's saying.
No one has forgotten where I come from, and I denounce that statement, all jokes aside. What I will say is that, again, for me, I think it's important, like you said, that we begin to heal. We begin to unlearn systems that have been put in place for us to absorb, and now we project it on each other. We need to unlearn those structures so we can begin to have pride within our own culture, within our own Blackness, and therefore we can begin to move forward. When I say things like we want people to respect us and call us by our names and do all these things, but then you have images of people who are disrespecting each other, and it's Black people against Black people, but yet we want to yell at everybody else. So it begins to fall. It begins to fall.
Don't you think that that's intentional? Like, don't you think that media? We're going into a whole nother thing, and we
because we get into this all
I can get deep on that one. We can go there.
When I tell you that,
we can really go there.
When I tell you, and
it's called depression. It's called you beat us down. We were literally they put us in a cage together. Put two dogs in a cage together for 5 years.
Who is the dogs?
What do you? I'm just saying how they looked at us.
The dogs.
I'm not saying realistically.
I denounce that
here they go. Think outside the box.
I'm a kid.
Exactly.
Next topic. So
the Jaguar.
I'm a forgot.
Y'all gotta hear these conversations offline. It go crazy.
Police 45 minutes. That's why I'm not gonna drag it.
You know what? I need y'all to motherfucking go under these comments, because I need y'all to push some of my sisters on this couch for a live. Who would come see us if we did a live show? Because I think it's time for us to do a damn live show. So y'all like to comment in the comments, get in the comments and let us know if y'all would come see us do a live show. Because I need my sis to be ready to want to do a live show.
I just want us to get our foot in the door groovy-wise, like understanding things. So that's why,
Yeah, just let us
But
know.
shout out to my girls that's in the comments that's loving that last poll I did on that episode. Shout out to Stizzy. Shout out to my girl Stizzy. I'm not going to show you. Shout out to Stizzy. She keeps me right. She keeps me right. So our iconic sister over there at Address It on the podcast, Sexy Lexi made a bold move this past weekend by publicly accusing one of the icons of predatory behavior towards her when she was a minor. What are your thoughts?
I don't really have much
She's
to say, but I think that we have talked about it I have definitely have spoke up against people, and a lot of people have for a very long time. And I think that sometimes in the scene, it gets picked. Like, I have empathy for everybody who share their stories and stuff like that. And I feel like no time is the right, I mean, anytime, your time is the right time, whenever you feel like you want to talk about it, and I definitely, have empathy for that. Do we know that there's predatory behavior in the scene? Yes. I was shocked to hear about the 13 and 14-year-old ages and stuff like that. Like, I mean, that was just so sad, that those things were happening. And also, I do think that a lot of times in the scenes, it becomes kind of pick and choose. It's like, certain people, and you're underneath these people, leadership, or like but you're scared of this one, so you're not really gonna talk about this person, but you ain't that scared of this one, so you're gonna talk about this one. So let's do, like, what does that accountability look like? Like, I don't know, like, people who are intentionally hurting kids and doing things to these younger people, or intentionally hurting anybody, whether it's like all these things that they said have been done. I think that is sad. And
we've talked about this offline, and we all have strong, vehement feelings, and this is not a space where we are not going to uphold, I hate using the word victims, but I would say people who were SA, we uphold you, we support you, and we know that it takes a lot of courage to come out and say those things, and those are for the ones who are bold enough to do it. There are so many others who don't feel like they are empowered to tell their truth. This is another conversation that people have been screaming about before that conversation even took place. So it goes back to what you were saying about picking and choosing who we are going to, pull down or lift up, because some of the same people who they are naming are some of the people with privilege, status, and we celebrate them. So I say that to say that we can talk about this all day about holding people accountable and calling them out. What's next? Because for me, there needs to be a strategic plan to what accountability looks like, and a strategic plan where we are able to watch over our youth that access the scenes. I think, like, when we go out the country, like, the kids come and play at a certain time, they go home. And then it becomes a second shift where there's a different ball for the adults. But for me, like, when we have this conversation, there's another nuance to this conversation, and they attacked him for his opinion.
Santonio.
And for me, I think, like, as someone who was in Survivor, and I'm gonna keep it on me, right? Because this story may resonate with some, but not with all. And I was young, coming up, surviving. I went after the older people because I knew that you would pay me because I was young. I did not tell you my age. I was very manipulative. I needed to get what I want, and I do not, and I repeat, I do not apologize for decisions that I made out of survival. I did not blame anyone for what happened to me that landed me in prison. I never blamed anyone. However, I will say that as an adult, your moral compass should tell you that this is a child and you shouldn't mess with that child. I don't care how sexy they are. I don't care how many advances they make. I don't care how desperate and lonely you may feel. You do not touch a minor in any way sexual. How was that even turning you on? Where is your mind go? How could this person be even suitable for a partner for you? So when you're doing those things, that looks more to the perpetuator. So my thing is, what happened to this perpetuator that made them feel as though it was okay for them to do that? Did they have that experience? Did they experience this? Did they witness this? And for those who are around, because there's another conversation that says, the generation before us didn't do nothing about it and blah, 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 blah. They uphold it. Thank God And I say this publicly. I was arrested, but I was rescued because I never had to experience some of those traumas. But I empathize because it is a touchy subject. As a sex worker, I've been SA'd, so I know how that feels to be forced to do something. I wasn't forced to sex work, but there were times when I was forced to do things that I didn't want to do. Yeah, so I understand the parallels between that conversation, but at no point should any adult be sleeping with any child.
I think that you should be 18. I think that you shouldn't let anybody under 18 in your house anyway. I think for the main scene and ballroom, I feel like you should be at least 18 years old.
I say 21.
To be in ballroom.
I say 21 because 18.
But I'm just saying,
you're exposed to too much
But I'm just saying legal, right? It is. But I'm just saying,
a lot of stuff, substance use.
Yeah.
Is running rampant in our community. Let's really talk about it.
What do you think?
So when I was 14,
say it again.
Sex, drugs, rock and roll,
and that's the era I grew up in. Mm-hmm. I grew up in the era of sex, drugs, and rock and roll where people idolized Hugh Hefner, who was visibly an elder guy who walked around with dolls on his arm, and they were a lot younger than him, where everybody wanted to be Rockefeller, and everybody wanted to do these things in our communities. And for me, it goes back to just thinking about the ancestral trauma that we have experienced by watching our Black men be sodomized in front of our communities by people who would break them. So when I say these things, that SA and sexual assault has targeted our community for years. You have gay men who say that they became that way because they were touched.
But you know
these
that
things are real.
They're doing the same thing.
These things are real.
But even prior to that, where were the parents? Like,
they're not around. You gotta go.
Like, why is your child out at 13 and 14 years old in these situations? That is so
different. Some parents are substance users and sex workers themselves.
Hurt people.
Right,
that's why healing is even most important before you even have a child.
Remember, there was a time when men couldn't even be in your apartment with you if you were collecting a public assistance because they would cut you off. So the structural protections and the understanding on how to have a nuclear family where we are living by the virtues that are created by us, not taught to us, that system has left a long time ago by our oppressors, by white supremacy, by those things. So when we start to really unlearn those things, and when we really start to figure out in our ballroom culture what accountability, what strategic plan, I think every fucking house needs, when you become a new member, we need to start teaching them inside what sexual assault is, sexual harassment is. Everybody should go through this module.
Well, first you
the same way we want to get, the same way we want to give out the ballroom culture, we should be giving around what sexual harassment like. And there's people who already have the slides. There's people who already have the data. There's people who already have this already in ballroom, but nobody talks about that.
I wanted to speak on this. When I was 14, and I know we talked about this prior, probably last season, I was on a stroll at 14 and I was working.
I was young.
And I used to always lie about my age, but what I learned very early is the younger you look or the younger you are, the more money you made. So even though I lied about my age, most of those men knew that I was young because they wanted me because
You think they knew you were 14?
May not be 14. It's not the fact. It's not the fact of the age. It's the fact that I know because you're unaware of the circumstances that you're already in. I can manipulate you better. I can do the things I need to do in this situation. And I think a lot of times our world, we're built on that. Even if you watch, I don't know if y'all saw the new Monster off of on the new show. It seems like people are taught these things of how to be criminals or how to harm people. I think it's a taught thing that goes back to knowledge. That's why healing is important. So you can give out the right knowledge. But I do believe that seeing that on shout out to Sexy Lexi, I do believe sometimes I do believe that we say the same names sometimes in ballroom, that we don't like to call out the names that, because we hear the same conversations. We all hear the same names that no one want to speak up because they're nervous, because you don't want to get that pushback. And that's, hopefully that one day. Go ahead.
No, there was someone who spoke about it before, and he repeated it again, and he said that when he talked about his, he was bullied. Yeah. And
right. So
he
there
was
were
like, you know, like they was like, you know,
they would silence them, you know,
yeah.
and since we're naming, y'all know I believe in giving names to things, and I know that, you know, people may feel like you shouldn't name names, and I get that. But for those who were whistleblowers earlier on, like Bugs and so many of them, who were saying these things and were calling out these things, like the voices like we mobilize now, and it's not to say why we didn't mobilize them, but the time is now. So what do we do now? And to our next generation of youth who are saying that now is your time to do something because our generation failed you. Your feelings are valid, and I understand that you may feel that way, but I will tell you that this is a very, 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 very hard discussion to have. It is a very sensitive topic to have. Mm-hmm. And kudos to anyone who was brave enough to stand up and name your accuser. And this is not about victim blaming, because we don't do that here. But there are so many nuances to this conversation. And I think, you know, while our community is experiencing this, that we need to really support those who are actually, you know, stepping up and speaking about their harm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that we, you know, we had a good conversation. Ready to bring up.
I do want to say one more thing, though. No. Yes, just one more thing. Not to that, but also I do want to say that when I talk about the perpetrators, right? I did a 5K marathon with the Bronx Borough President and the Bronx District Attorney, raising awareness for domestic violence and intimate partner violence this weekend. And it was one of the most liberating things that I did on the early morning for others who are victims of domestic violence. And I want to say that at times when we're having this conversation and we're talking about youth, what was shocking to me is that we never look at the youth who are impacted by this, what they're witnessing in their families, and they grow up to repeat it. So that's why I say I also believe in, you know, and I'm probably going to get the terminology wrong, but intervention for young adults are definitely necessary. And I think that we need to be looking at ways to educate our youth on how to protect themselves. There's a video that goes around, the lady's touching her daughter, and the daughter saying, play back. We need to start doing that early. We need to have early intervention for youth that witness, that have been victims, so they can grow up to become better adults. So we don't continue.
Maybe in the schools.
Yeah, so we don't grow up to continue to perpetuate.
But if you're outside at 13, 14, you probably dropped out of school.
In our communities.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's what we have, you know, at least trying, I guess, maybe in the after school programs, because that's why I ended up. What is in general? Just in general, like just passing on the knowledge.
You probably not know.
Right. I do want to say,
even in domestic violence, I think that we could talk about.
I do want to add something to
all was a part of
intimate partner violence.
I want to say something to the Santonia post. I don't like that we do that sometimes as a community. It's like we shun people to shut up and be quiet, and that's one of the big problems. Even if you disagree, maybe hit them up and be like, let me, you know, let me give you a history lesson, or let me help you, help you with how you maybe should have went about this.
We come from a very bullying culture, it's like.
And we make it like it's a rites of passage where people are upholding old systems that do not fucking work anymore. And what I will say is that until we begin to dismantle some of that shit, we're always going to be the same people who will perpetuate the same stuff. And what I will say for those that attacked him, they were saying that it wasn't the time. Oh, you shouldn't have done this right now, given this current topic. But my thing is, what he did was offer another approach to it.
He gave his story,
just how everyone was doing. And why would we silence him? Because we want to do this.
Because that was a true thing too. Like at one point you had to start asking people for their ID. But y'all know when I was a younger girl and I was, you know, because you was younger, you were meeting even younger people, and bitch, they lying about their age and all of this stuff, and you don't know, bitch. You had to stop. One of my girlfriends had to go to jail before that. Boots, bitch. They do. And that's not to excuse the people who really go after those young people. I was going to
Nicki Minaj. I was going to Nicki Minaj Facebook, but I paid it. I didn't want them to Rock Nation
So
me.
when we come back,
Girl, what?
I didn't want them to Rock Nation me. Let me stop.
Oh my God, I love y'all so much. Again, congratulations,
Nikki, put them
Tempress.
on the payroll, honey.
What? Did you see them?
Speaking
in
of
Bob?
bitch-
You better stop.
Speaking
but
of
you better
witch-
stop. You better
did you
stop.
see
The
them?
Bob go get her.
It was witch hunting.
They
Don't do
was
it
coming
again.
after me. I'm
I'm
The
sorry,
Bob-
y'all.
The Bob.
I don't care.
Team Cardi.
All right, well, we're going to come
I
back
don't speak that language.
with Angelica
don't speak her
Ross, baby.
Type shit. Don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. You're watching Femme Queen Crazy Sexy Cool.
You may remember her from Pose, American Horror Story, Chicago. She's a human rights activist. She does all the things. It is Angelica Ross.
It
baby.
is. Oh my goodness. Cheers, ladies.
Cheers.
Eyes, ladies.
Listen.
Make sure y'all look into eyes when y'all tip.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Listen, I have been waiting for this moment because I have so many personalities. And so I feel like I get to indulge in all of it. The craziness, the sexiness, and the coolness all at once.
Yes.
Go.
We're here for it. We're here for it. And I love some more with a bunch of personalities because you know I got a bunch of them myself.
You know, us actresses.
Yeah.
Oh, must be an actress's thing.
Yeah.
Yes, let's get right
maybe
to
talking to
it.
So before we start, I want to say you just finished
Freedom, yeah.
Freedom Rider.
Yes.
And as we celebrate everyone and their accomplishments here. That's the cue.
I get flowers.
Yes.
Thank you so much. They're so beautiful. Oh my
Yes, and congratulations.
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 so
On an
much.
incredible tour with Freedom Rider.
Yes, shout out
That's
to you for that.
big.
And speaking of that, let's get right into it because I remember at one point it seemed that you were done with acting.
You know, I think that was a misconception.
Okay.
I was done with the foolishness.
Okay.
I was never done with being creative, never done with being acting, never done with, creating our own stories, telling our own stories. I was done with the foolishness of the system, with the Hollywoodness of it all. I know that everybody kind of knows, like, what I'm really done with, we know everybody plays a game. This is America. This is whatever it is, whatever you do, whether it's a job, whether it's on TV, whatever, you know the rules. There are rules to the game. And I just said, you know what? No. I don't want to play by those rules, and I don't think that that means that I'll never have to act again.
Do you feel like because you're so outspoken and because you are done with that, do you think, because I don't know if this came out your mouth, but I have heard saying, do you think that some people have blackballed you?
Not for that reason. I think that I have been definitely suppressed because of my outspokenness for Palestine and saying Free Palestine. I've been saying that loudly for over 2 years. And so 2 years later, we have learned so much and people know more about what's going on. So now me saying what I'm saying is not so controversial because people have been witnessing it with their own eyes on their phones. But when you're first coming out, there was a white girl, I think, that was in the movie Scream. And because she also said Free Palestine and things like that, they were trying to drop her from that movie. And then the girl who was in the movie with her that was on Wednesday, she played Wednesday. She ended up basically in solidarity with her, dropping also out of the movie. Now folks are changing their tune a little bit, but at some point, you gotta say my integrity's not for sale. So when it comes to these other things, there are levels that when do we start speaking up? I'm so thankful that I've been introduced to a spiritual practice. I grew up in the church, but now I understand spirituality as a practice. So that's with everything, speaking up, telling your truth, it takes practice so that you're not shaking in front of power. So that you don't feel like sometimes you may lose something, but you won't lose yourself.
Speak on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this, like being famous, it gives you such a perspective that because you're seeing so many people will lie, will do so many things just to do whatever they think they need to do to be where you're at, to get over on that side. And so many people will agree to what goes on in Hollywood. I'll look the other way. I won't say nothing. I'll do whatever, but don't understand that these things will chip away at you and it will cost you eventually. Like the prices that we pay, like that's what I want people to understand most about what I went through. Some of what people saw happen in my career and things like that, that was a visible cost. But I shudder to think about the cost other people are going to pay spiritually for the decisions that they made.
Well, we need you. I continue to speak up, like, you know,
Thank
you're
you.
inspiring.
Because it makes it better for the next person.
Absolutely.
I mean, even on Broadway, when I did Broadway, you know what I mean? Doing Chicago on Broadway, like as a Black trans woman leading this and doing all this, it was such an amazing thing. And at the same time, I felt like I couldn't fully speak up about my truth, feeling low, like I wasn't fully valued in that space.
Really?
Not the way that Jinx Monsoon is. You know, when Jinx Monsoon did Chicago and did Mama Morton's a beautiful character, but she's not the lead character. And there was so much more support, advertising, all kind of other things. And I had to really, really fight for everything that I got. But one thing that Shirley Ralph told me about all of this is that it's not about them. The opportunity is about you showing up and showing that I deserve this. So regardless of what you're paying, whatever, it takes talent. It takes discipline. It takes a lot of things to be the star. So regardless of how they're valuing and seeing me, I know how the audience sees me. I know that I am qualified to do this job. So yeah.
How did you get into acting, into art? How did you
Literally from diapers. Like I will tell people I've been acting from kindergarten. I remember my first play, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I played Sleepy or something like that or whatever. And just as soon as that audience started clapping and I realized something, I was hooked. I did musical theater for maybe 11 years before I even graduated high school. So I was always in the school plays, the church choir, the jazz choir, the swing choir, chorale. I did whatever I could do, and that gave me the experience to be able to, you know, so it wasn't just that I wanted all of a sudden popped out of nowhere. No, I had like 12 years of experience before I graduated high school.
And you went, you chose to, are you still, well, I know that you're definitely in politics, but are you still gonna run for office? Because I remember.
Hell no.
You're not feeling it.
Hell no.
You're not feeling it, sir.
Girl. Oh my God. I wanted you know, I've been in so many different places. I've given up so much privilege, to be honest. If I wanted to, I could be sitting up somewhere with a big ass rock on my finger, some stepchildren, living in a gated community with some man with a lot of money and shutting the hell up. If I wanted to just sit on my own pretty and privilege. But I realized that it wasn't just about me. It was about my community, the people that are coming behind me. It wasn't just about what I could get. So, you know, I've always been an advocate because I was advocating for myself first. And then what happened was when you grow up in musical theater, Toastmasters, drama, I'm very experienced at speaking, at performing, at entertaining, at speech. So then when it came to advocacy and stuff like that, those things kind of went together. And sometimes I think that provided a little confusion for the space and the girls, because I felt like sometimes people saw advocacy as a performance and didn't really have the knowledge, the experience, the community relationships, like a lot of things. So it's like, after a while, I saw people like almost like trying to duplicate the look, but not having the damn, you know, the know-how and those things. So I always want to use my power where I'm at, but I realize that I'm going to be more powerful outside the system than I would be inside the system, trying to fight around their red tape. I found out too much when I was being trained to be a candidate. I went to candidate training through a lot of Victory Institute, through Women Who Lead, We All Vote, all these different organizations in Georgia. And I wanted to run independent. And I remember them telling me, you can't do that. And I was like, well, But that's what we're asking for right now, is that we are tired of this two-party system, and that we need independent voices who aren't beholden to, these things. And they're like, but it's not that you can't do it, it just won't be successful because the way the system is set up. So when we're talking about all these parties in Georgia, it was Democrats who sued so that independent voices couldn't be on the ballot. So when you're thinking about democracy and are we really doing this or not, so it's just too much playing around for me, and I don't play. I don't play, and I don't want to have to play these rules because politicians have to shuck and jive, and I'm not about that. APAC Shakur, I'm not joining y'all group. Cory Booker, Hakeem Jeffries.
So,
but when you do,
I have a question. Earlier, like you said that people felt like you were performing advocacy. You used the word famous, right? And being in those advocacy spaces and being in community at times or in other spaces, the idea that being famous somehow constitute financial success.
I was famous well before I had money. And that was one thing I remember Janet Mock telling me. I was saying something about I couldn't wait till certain things hit with my visibility and all that. She was like, actually, what you don't understand is you've already been that. The girl, people know your name and all these different things. People don't know their stars. Like I remember hearing Katy Perry talking about it one time, being at dinner with people and crossing her fingers that her debit card was going to go through in her early stages of her career. In the beginning, when you are getting known and all of that, like you don't, like Destiny's Child, like how long were they known while their mother was making their outfits and they didn't have fashion designers doing all those things? So there's such a perception that comes along with it, but what people don't know is with a lot of us, with Black women and especially with Black femme queens, we make it look like, we don't look like what we've been through.
Oh, hell no.
We're not gonna look like what we've been through. We are gonna pull it together.
Yeah. Baby.
They feel like I talk too much. Okay, so yeah, they be talking about I talk too much, but I be trying to hold space.
But I have questions for
I have a lot. So,
Go ahead.
I wanted to get more into the deep part of who you are and where you come from, and what is that like for you? What's your origins?
I come from Wisconsin.
Okay.
The middle of the country. And I was born in a very religious family. My grandmother was an evangelical pastor. My mother went down that same route. So I grew up in the church. I grew up in a very small town. And it's so wonderful because what I want for most people to know about their lives is obviously, one, give main character energy.
All the time.
And understand that in a main character, in your movie, there's a beginning. And that beginning is so important because there's so many things that are in the soil that make you who you are. So the fact that I was born in church, the fact that I was raised in Pentecostal church.
Me too.
And saw both the power of God, but also the performance of religion, and seeing what was true and what was not. So when I came up into that space and all of a sudden they're trying to tell me what I am and am not, but I'm sitting here in this vessel, so I had to rely on my own truth in a way that let me see the environment that I'm in, see the games that people are playing, but also really know the power you talk about, the power of God you talk about. Now I know what that is. Even though I'm a Buddhist, I know it because that's where I came from. So I feel like I know sometimes more about God than people who claim to be Christian, because all they're doing is parroting things that they heard from the Bible. The devil is a lie, and God is on time. They have these things that they just repeat.
Knowledge.
What you gotta
but
say?
it's not in practice. But it's not in practice.
Right.
Wait.
Sophisticate.
No.
Knowledge.
Wait. I think that, everyone, me too, growing up in the Pentecostal church, and I heard you say the same thing. I think everyone's relationship with religion and church are very different. I also subscribe to like religion being more of a structural thing that increases like a different type of learning as opposed to having an experience and a relationship with God. There are some that say trans people are the closest reflection to it.
I would say that.
Yes, I would.
And for me, having the duality in the spirit to understand that I know that I submit to a power that is larger than the earth that we walk on always keeps me humble, because I know that I would not have made it through any of the trials that I've been through without God in my life.
Absolutely.
So, and because like people have those sayings like, he's an on-time God. Yes, he is.
Hey.
However, what I will say is that for the naysayers who say these things, when you're in trouble, the first thing you say is, oh God. So for me, when we talk about these things, let's understand that no matter where you at or how you believe, just know that God is real.
Well, you know, let me.
She
So
said
you know, let me put a little spiritual lesson out here really quick.
Come on.
But you know, here's how I see it, and I think this is the honest to God truth. The situation is, it's a world. We live in a world with what, billions of people?
Yes.
All these different languages, cultures, and countries. And you got so many people trying to claim that I know more. And I know this and that. And it's fine, but here's the situation is that from Gandhi to Jesus to Buddha to all these different folks, I know that the universe, God, or whatever it is, has placed teachers. I'm one of those teachers. Has placed teachers to be able to say it to you in a way that you understand. And so what I know about spirituality is this: we grew up in a church and place that claimed to be almost like a gatekeeper or the domination of God, when the reality is every single one of us has either, whether you want to call it a spirit, a soul. Let's take it out of spirituality. Let's just say a battery. So we all got a battery that runs out of energy at the end of the day, that we need to recharge, that sometimes has a negative or a positive charge. And so there's just a way to know that it's included.
Yeah.
So they're trying to tell you how to run your battery, when the reality is you need to, and don't nobody know better than you.
So that speaks so much to one of my little sisters who was
go.
saying that she finds it very difficult these days to believe in God when she's had to do everything on her own. And she made a video around that, and it's like, getting traction. And, I haven't spoke to her yet, so if she sees this before I speak to her, what I would like to offer is that, yes, it is difficult for some people to believe in God when they have had to overcome things by themselves, not understanding that they're able to do the things that they're going through because the God is already in them.
Absolutely.
Or that battery.
Right.
So absent of God, when you try to take God out the picture, then you're taking away from yourself, because you were created in God's image, wonderfully created. So for me, even in the Bible, when it says that they gave us all different tongues, quite naturally, in the place with billions of people, we all have different tongues.
Absolutely.
Nobody has the gatekeeper. This extreme national Christian theology that is trying to take over our country is not the God
But you
that
know what,
we
though?
serve.
But that's the thing that I think is missing so much. And like in our Buddhist practice, we believe in the cycle of life and death. You are born. Everybody goes through this: birth, aging, sickness, death.
It's not reincarnation.
And then being reborn again. Yes,
Okay.
this wheel of life that happens. But in our thing, we don't believe that we like reach enlightenment and then we get to like jump off the wheel and be done. We believe that, you know what? Now I want to go back on the ride again, and now
Yes.
I'm going to do
I
it
need to
as a
study up on
trans
that.
woman or as a immigrant or as this. And for someone like your friend that you were speaking about, the thing that I want to encourage folks to understand about those situations is that's where God is. That's where you see it, because you need a point A. And so to see how God works in all situations is to see how he empowers you in that. I understand. I wouldn't wish some of the things I've been through on my worst enemy, but the ways in which it has made me strong and courageous and given me wisdom, I couldn't trade it for the world.
Because the colonizer will have you believe that you got to wait to get your heaven and stuff when they get their heaven right here on earth. But so there's another thing that was so interesting.
In Buddhism, we believe heaven and hell are right here.
Yes.
I am a Buddhist.
I want to study
Buddhism for 14 years now.
I definitely want to research.
My
mother had me doing that when I was like 5 years old.
Really? Okay,
yes.
so
I read it. Yes,
okay.
my mother had me doing that.
What made you...
So when I seen it in What's Love Got to Do with It, I bust out.
Well, that was one of the things that kind of pushed me over, was seeing Tina Turner's story. Mm-hmm. That's something that like crystallized it for me, because I knew of the story. You heard her doing these things, but I didn't understand what was going on. When I saw that in her situation, Ike didn't stop being abusive. The situation didn't change. She did. Mm-hmm. So it was literally this thing that awoken her up to her own power, for her to say, actually, I don't need none of this shit. All I need is my own name. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to get to that place to understand it's great to delight in all the things. I don't need nothing but my name.
That's right. So in light of what's going on, like where trans people are being kicked out of the military and things, and we also heard back in the day about the Don't Ask, Don't Tell. You were in the Navy?
Yes.
You was in the Navy and was discharged on a part of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Absolutely.
Speak to that experience.
Hoo-wee. When I tell you, again, experiences that I wouldn't necessarily wish on my worst enemy, right? But the knowledge and wisdom that I have from that. I know that as a trans person, I am willing and able to serve this country. I'm willing to serve. And not only am I willing, but I'm able, because I passed that grueling test of boot camp. I graduated 2 months of boot camp in Chicago. I crawled under barbed wire. I shot rifles. I was tear gassed. I jumped off of buildings in 12 stories into a pool, took my pants off and turned it into a floating device. A bitch can survive.
I know that's right.
But the thing was, I realized at graduation, as we're watching the flag wave and they're playing this music and everybody's tearful, that we've gone through this whole thing, I realized, oh shit. I am willing to do all this for a country that's not willing to do that same in return for me as a openly queer person. And so what I realized was, I was trying so hard to be what my mother wanted me to be. I wanted to be straight. I wanted to not be what was happening inside, what I knew what was blossoming. I tried to turn this ship around. I did. I thought I would go to the military, maybe marry some woman, be straight, and do the things. But as soon as I got in there, made friends with the girls, I was like doing their makeup and doing photos. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? You're going to get found out. Stop. But I did learn eventually. Like one night, they took me to a hotel room where, our ship was being worked on, and we were about to go on our first trip to Hong Kong, and I had never been to sea yet. But I heard stories about how they would toss people overboard that were LGBTQ and what have you, and they started threatening me. They started telling me, you know what happens, so when we go on board, you're next. And then, it kind of would be a joke. And then so as our ship was being worked on, some friends, they were having a party in the hotel. And so I'm going to the party. I'm thinking, okay, I got friends, I thought. Until I walk in the room and they lock the door behind me. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden it turns into an interrogation on me. I'm sitting in a hot seat and they're all looking at me, asking me if I'm gay. Oh. Don't ask, don't tell, but they're asking me. And not only are they asking me, am I gay? One guy's a little drunk and he's asking me, well, so first I'm like, no, deny. And then they are like, I'm gonna beat your ass if you don't admit it. you know. And so finally I'm like, okay, fine. Well, I'm gay. Okay, if that's what you want to go, okay, fine. And the guy was like, okay, so we just want to have a conversation. I just want to know, why is it that gay guys hit on me and I'm straight? And I'm like, I don't mean because you're you know, but I'm not gay. And I'm like, well, okay, then just say, you know, you're not interested, but I'm not gay. And I'm like, okay. And I don't know if it's because he was drunk. He just kept repeating, I'm not gay. And I was like, well, I don't know. He's like, what do you mean I don't say I'm not gay? And he grabs me by my clothes and he's like, say I'm not gay. Just like as if I am the one who can tell him he's not gay.
That's so sad.
And he puts me up and pulls me over by the window and pushes me out this 3rd-story window and hangs me by my ankles. Out of this 3rd-story window, I see the treetops. I see the street lamps. And my life just flashes before my eyes. And I just remember crying and people yelling, pull him back in. And as they pulled me back in, somebody said, just one of the girls finally was just like, just open the door, let them go, you know. And I left. And I just remember going to the captain's office like the next day. And I was like, hey, listen, this ain't for me. I heard around the way that there's this policy that if you don't, you know, conform, you can't fit into military life within 6 months that you can kind of get out. I thought that was my way out. Went to saw a lawyer, did all this whole thing. They told me, yeah, that's kind of a thing, but that's not really going to get you out. You're going to have to admit and sign a paper saying that you're a homosexual. So as I'm thinking about doing this, I come out of the captain's office and I see one of the guys from the party and they see me coming out of the office and they're like, what you just came out the captain's office. What's up? They thought I was in there snitching. And I was like, no, nothing's up. They were like, did you say something about the other night? And I was like, no, I didn't say anything. And they're like, good, because our captain, and this was, I guess, a friend of mine who was giving me the inside tea, but he was like, you know, they already have come up with a story that the reason why that happened is because you said you wanted to suck the dicks of every guy in the room.
Oh, my God.
All of a sudden, it was like a story now of me being some kind of homosexual predator, and they were defending themselves against little old me. So that's when I knew. I was like, okay, y'all on one. I just need to get out of here anyway. What I got to sign? What paper?
Would you serve this country?
Again?
Yeah.
Girl, I got one foot outside this country.
Okay.
I met my African king. I'm like, I'm like, girl, get me out of here.
Okay.
I have a question. So, upon your exit from Pose, American Horror Story, there has been a lot that has happened, right? Have you ever grieved, or can you talk about an experience where you grieved that some of the people who you felt were supportive over you are no longer supportive over you?
Yeah, I definitely grieved. And, you know, my grief started well before, you know, I think even the show ended, because I literally went through a death vicariously through Candy. Mm-hmm. I laid in that coffin. I was at a service and I heard words, and it gave me the experience of what that might feel like to have people who didn't care for you saying they did at your funeral and all these different things. And so I really went through a death, and I cried for so long that after we wrapped, like even say like the episode, we had a group chat, you know, and I just was in a different place than everyone else. I was in a place of grief still. Now I'm off the show and everybody's just in a different space, you know? So I started already grieving Candy and what that meant. I knew I was going on to more work with Ryan Murphy on American Horror Story and doing all these different things, but I knew that this was a game. And as people are looking at me and they're like, oh, congratulations and all these different things, in my head, I'm like, thank you. But in my head, I'm still like, girl, this is a game.
How far in advance did you know that you were going to be killed off the show?
I knew before everybody else. I knew maybe after episode 1 or 2 of season 2. I just know that like Ryan Murphy came to me with the script and he's like, listen, no one has seen the script. They don't know. You were the first. I want you to read the script first so that I can get your feedback on this because this is the idea I have. And he told me, how it's going to go. The way he might retell it is he would say that, because I heard him one day after the fact saying that, if Angelica had a problem with it or didn't want to do it, we wouldn't have. And I'm just looking like, I wish somebody would have said something. But even if it was still one of those things that when you are new in this space, you really just want to be a good guest and go, you want to please the folks. So I wanted to do the story. I read the script and I was in shambles after reading the script one time. It was so, and I knew the powerfulness of why it needed to be done, but I don't know. He was just telling me, he was like, I think you have the tools to be able to pull this off. He's like, don't worry. After this, I'm going to put you on American Horror Story. I've got a great character lined up for you. And so when he said that, once he said that, I knew, okay, this is how I'm going to play this game. And so when all of a sudden, now we're done with Pose, and I get done, and then Business Affairs calls me up, and they're like, hey, so congratulations, you're going to be on American Horror Story. So we're going to send you your offer and what have you. So they sent me the offer, and I looked at the offer, and I said, tell Ryan Murphy, no thank you. At first, before I said no thank you, I said, actually, I need more money. Right. I need this to have some more zeros on it or something. And so I negotiated, and they came back and said, no, I'm sorry, we don't really have it in the budget. And I said, oh, damn. I said, well, all right, well, tell Ryan Murphy I really did want to do the project, but I guess if you don't have the budget, it's okay. No, it's okay, I won't do it. And I don't think they expected me to say no to an opportunity. Mm-hmm. But what I knew was white, gay, Ryan Murphy was going to benefit from the narrative of hiring black trans women, but you're not going to have me working on here below the line of everybody else. Mm. So I want to get paid so what I knew was I was gambling. Right. Because I knew you wanted to play this game and wanted to be able to say you're doing all these things. You're going to do it for real. And so after they came back with some more money, and I was like, okay, thank you, I'll do it.
So we hear India calling Ryan out and things, and I've heard like
Thank you, India more.
So what is your relationship with Ryan Murphy?
On site.
What?
God damn. Damn.
No, the reason why it's on site is because I don't like.
Go ahead.
I'm dead ass. I don't like people who play games, especially in a way that has so much power behind it, because media and visuals travels in such a way that it'll travel with a certain look, that things are a certain way. And they know this. That's why they play to the cameras with everything that they're doing. But when you're really not about that life and you're actually stabbing me in the back and the behind the scenes, no, I'm gonna let people know exactly what you're doing. Mm. So that's why, for me, I'm a gracious girl. I'm a gracious girl. So if you come to me for real and be like, listen, my bad. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking, or I was wrong, I did this, or you know what, I was being mean at that time, or I was doing this, that, and the third. We can have a conversation, we can move forward, but that's not what's happening. To me, the reason why it's on site is because Ryan Murphy's not stupid, to me. He's been in the business a long time. He has a lot of shows. They understand how we as actors get paid and stay afloat. So, for you to having me as an actor in your toolbox, and I'm doing American Horror season 9, then season 10. And then at the end of season 10, you tell me we're going on to season 11, doing an all-black American Horror Story season and asking me, who do you think we should add? I'm saying, oh, Keke Palmer, maybe Amaya Scott, Gabby Sabiti. I'm putting all the girls in the email saying, let's have us all in there. The directors know that they're doing an all-black season, so some of them are feeling their feelings because they think they might not be directing because they're white the next season. So now I'm getting ready. He's doing so many things that they're like, hey, can we take a break before we move into this next season? Because you got this show, you got that show. So they said, okay, we're going to take a little bit of a break before we go to the next season. It was supposed to be a couple months. It turned it into, okay, season 11 is going to start at the top of the next year. But we all had our marching orders about what the season was going to be. In between that time, Marvel calls. I had been auditioning for Marvel for 3 years. And I knew from other people, Tiana Paris, other friends I know in the Marvel space, is that's kind of what happens, is you end up auditioning for years before they bring you in. And you don't even know what role you're auditioning for. Finally, Sarah Finn over at the Marvel casting is like, we have a role for you. Are you available between, it was like April this and blah, blah, blah. We want to check your availability. And I was like, yeah, I was saying yes, but my agents were saying no. I was like, what the hell you mean no? Of course I'm available for Marvel. And they're like, actually, you're under a 7-year, deal with FX. So you just have to, the way the wording works, you have to ask them for permission. So let me point out one thing. Has there ever been an actor in American Horror Story under Ryan Murphy's umbrella that has gone to Marvel? Yes, Evan Peters. And so it can happen. But apparently it couldn't happen for me, because when my agents called, they said, no, she can't do it because she's doing the next season of American Horror Story. She won't be available. Not that they could figure out scheduling or whatever, maybe just do both things simultaneously. They were like, she can't do it. And so we were waiting to go back to work or whatever. And then in that amount of time, Marvel calls again to check again. We're just checking again to make sure, And they said that I know she's going on to the next season. So then maybe a month later, because I'm like, okay, so when are we going to work? Yeah. A bitch is ready to work. About a month later, I call business affairs, and they're like, oh yeah, we're going through the contracts now, and yours is not in here. You're not coming back this season.
Oh.
No phone call from Ryan Murphy, no text message, no email. I'm like, oh, so I was just that black friend you talked about.
Oh my God.
You had my cell phone number to call me when you wanted to, but couldn't let me know we were going in a different direction to give me any kind of time to prepare and get a new job. So you fucked with my money.
So if
it ain't about just you giving me a job. Because let's make it clear, I don't need any one person to give me jobs. I find and create opportunities. They come all the time. I'm a manifester. Don't block my shit though. Don't cock block.
So if Ryan Murphy apologized to you, you're willing to move forward?
Absolutely.
No beat down.
What do you see the future for trans people, especially trans people of color? And what advice would you give to those who want to get in the industry, like myself, a newcomer to it? What kind of advice would you give those Black trans women and trans men coming into?
I think you have to, there's several levels. One, when it comes to, if you want to be in this Hollywood, that kind of stuff or whatever, then you need to learn how to be an asset in the space, which means you're not always going to be in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. If you love the space, then you should know how to work lights or camera or do scripts or PA, do whatever, because just like Issa Rae talked about, people be looking up here like, oh, I can't wait to work with that person. And don't be looking next to them at the girls who are already putting together and putting on production, but we're not working together. So one, I would say, instead of trying to look way over here and I can't wait to work with this person, look local. See what local plays, community theater, that's going on. Know your craft. Study the thing. Stop thinking it's all about being cute or being discovered or being a natural talent. Fuck that. Like, natural talent is always conditioned. So even as an actor now, I try to stay in class. I don't ever stop learning. Lastly, I will say that I learned from Beyonce getting gooped, sitting front row at the Grammys every fucking year. Them playing in her fucking face. And knowing that we should be able to get the recognition from the industries that we participate and contribute to and help build and influence, especially as femme queens. But I know a lot of the issue for me is that too many times we are placing more value on outside approval, on the white lens, on all these different things. And that's why we've created things like the NAACP that would have like celebrate Black talent and things like that, only to then go into those spaces and not have queer and trans people highlighted and celebrated in those spaces. But it's indicative of the fact that even within queer and trans spaces, both butch queens and other trans women sometimes are playing pick-me's to be a part of that world instead of giving each other our flowers. Instead of, we'd rather listen to rappers who claim they don't want their children to turn out like us, rather than support a Miss Mojo, 7 Deep, all these different artists, and Angelica Ross, Mila Jam. There's so many queer and trans artists out there that probably we don't even know about. And so I think we have to learn to celebrate each other more and create our own stages. Absolutely. So what that means is writing our own plays. Even if that means a small space, like we're in the space where anything can be a stage. We on a stage right now. Yeah. We can put chairs up in here and put a play up together right here. But we put more value on, because one thing I know is my family or friends, so-called whatever, will only go up, will only share, will only get excited when they see a logo.
What is the name? Yes.
HBO, this, a white man's name on it. But I'm running a whole professional ass podcast that looks like I got money into it, but I don't yet. So I need people to celebrate me now at the beginning of this right now.
Hello.
Our people want something very specific.
At that point, I would say like, click, and subscribe.
Because look at
follow.
this. Follow. When I saw this and what you all are doing here, I was so at awe, because I know as someone who does production about what goes into something to look so good. Folks don't know how many people are actually on the other side of this camera.
Yeah, let's turn it around.
Shouts to our production team.
Yes.
Y'all gonna meet them in the last episode. We bringing them out.
Yes, and we got a newcomer. Hey, Charmaine.
Hey, Charmaine. Welcome to the production team, Charmaine.
So my definite advice would be to not seek validation necessarily to put too much on the outside and on these other spaces. Seek validation from the feeling that you get when you're doing what you're doing. If you feel lit up, you know what I mean? If you feel certain things, and that's what you're supposed to be doing, and just work on it. Like, it takes time. It's not going to happen right away. Stop thinking you're going to be a star like after one show too. Like, I have been,
you gotta keep on.
I was an extra on CSI Miami. Don't nobody know about that. I was on a show with Jet Jackson and J-Lo, South Beach back in the day. Like, probably nobody saw me on it. I was in the background of Little John and the East Side Boys Get Low remix video. Didn't even know I was trans on the place. I was in a Cherokee Jeans commercial.
Can we pause on that?
I think I definitely think that we're gonna go to the go ball, but before that, I would be remiss if we didn't have you talk about trans tech.
Yes.
Speak to that and like, how's that going and how you even came up with it.
Trans tech is going amazing. And, you know, this year and the past couple years especially, I've had to kind of like switch things up a little bit because of all the hyper focus on trans people, targeting us now as terrorists by this country and all these different things. I stopped moving so publicly with some of the work that I was doing. Many of you will know what a VPN is, a virtual private network. We put this thing on our phones and on our computers to protect our devices, the information that is going out of it to make sure it goes out safely and nobody gets to hack it, as well as information that's coming in. I'm now looking at the strategy of protecting my community like a VPN. I'm looking at the tools of cybersecurity. There's the pillars of cybersecurity. It's confidentiality, integrity, and accessibility. And so these have become some of the pillars at which I'm now operating in community. Everybody ain't got to know everything. We've got to start moving around in a little bit of confidentiality. Integrity is not just about like being about and doing what you're saying. Integrity is about being able to trust the information you're given. So, you know, sharing information with each other and having the integrity and accessibility, making sure that my people can access the resources that I'm putting together. And also certain people don't have access to the community space that we're building. But trans tech came out of my hoeing days. Trans tech came out of me being exploited on someone else's website for clicks, of when she-male was a keyword for adult websites. But what I learned was how to...
She-male hung. Let me stop.
Girl, I was on Bob T Girls, all them.
God.
They might still have some of my old pictures on there.
Oh no!
Not
Let's,
today.
let's hope not.
You might see the girl.
The girls was on
The
there.
girls was on there.
But
Release
what
the
the girls
dragon.
don't understand about that, because it's just our experience, when we talk about sex trafficking, the girls don't even know that they were trafficked. Just like a girl from Africa that comes over that doesn't know the language, that doesn't have the right paperwork, that gets trafficked into a braiding shop. Because what else are you going to do, sweetie? You don't have the documentation. You can't speak the language. You blah blah blah. This is all you can do. And so that's what they told the girls. What else are you going to do when you go
take your passport?
They take your passport. They do all these things. So I was trafficked to a space where that's what I thought all I could do. And I'm telling you, it was divine order. This is how I know my life has purpose, because I was put there so that I could see my own value in that space, and I could look at these other girls and they didn't think that I was judging them, and they could see their value in me and each other, and I could flip the script so that instead of other people making money off our backs and our bodies, that we got to determine the value. So I learned how to build the websites. I learned how to upload the photos. I didn't know any of that beforehand. I was posing on the website. So then I went online and started watching videos of how to do coding and different things so that I could work on this woman's website and not pose on it. And once I learned that, I stopped. And the distance grew more and more between me and that life. Because now I had the skills. So, and the choice. So I say to those girls, now it's about choice. Because if everything goes to hell right now, I know I can still. It still works. And I don't have to
Put up the air.
and I don't need a single person to touch me. I just need to turn the camera on.
I know that's all right.
Technology. So when I say trans tech, I don't just mean the coding I learned early on, which can give you so many opportunities. I also mean how to gatekeep your pictures and your access to yourself and your body in a way where it swipes the credit card and it clears.
Did y'all hear
The girls
that?
definitely need to learn that. And I think that we should definitely go to the Gold Bowl.
The gold bowl, what?
Hey you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. You're watching Femme Queen, Crazy, Sexy, Cool.
This bitch digging in the gold bowl. The gold bowl, the gold bowl. This bitch digging in the good bowl.
And we're back with the gold bowl.
So the gold bowl, we just shake the bowl, not my titties. Okay,
Yeah,
wait.
you answer your questions. If you don't answer, you get you a little shot.
I do 3. Okay.
Yeah.
So first one is, who was your least favorite cast member on Pose? My least favorite cast member on Pose.
Or you have to take a shot.
Or I take a shot. Okay, I'm gonna take a shot.
I've never seen her be. I've never seen this.
That means it's a close friend. I'm joking.
I love my girls. I love everyone.
I love all the girls. All the girls are caught.
Yes. Okay, next one. What is the boldest DM you ever received, and who was it from?
Yeah, I would have. I would have took a shot on that too.
Ever seen?
I would have took a shot on that too.
Get this quiet.
If you ever want to quiet a girl out,
She got to sleep nice on that flight.
Yeah. Was dating? Oh, I love this question. Was dating better pre-op versus post-op? No. For me, dating has improved tenfold post-op. And the only reason why I say that is because it was just very hard to deal with men who had a focus, who specifically were seeking out my body in that way. And also I found there were so many men who tried to play me for a fool, in the sense that a girl's giving, you know. If folks didn't know I was trans, there's so many guys who meet me who they're like, oh my God, you don't have children, you don't have this, that, and there. All of a sudden I'm checking all the boxes until I say I'm trans. And so I just think that I will say that guys lie to get what they want. And I felt like, as much as I wanted to put myself on a pedestal and wait for the right guy to come and just not be sexually interactive with all these folks, I would have to break glass in case of emergency at some point after not having sex for so long. And I feel like guys were playing to my nature of wanting, and know that eventually, girl, you're gonna have to give in. But I will have to say that it is that practice of saying no, of not just inviting anything and anyone into my space, that allowed me to now have, you know, I think I'm in the right relationship now.
Oh, you're in a relationship. Yes.
Congratulations.
Oh, yes, I'm in love.
Oh, that's good.
I'm in love with a black king, a black trans man.
Okay, T for T.
What is going on in the water? What is going on in the water? The water has got something in the water. You got some
Baby.
over there.
No, I mean, and it's just and he's the right one.
Yeah.
Because I
it has
don't
to be the
have
right
to
person.
explain myself. I don't have to raise this man, or like, you know, he has his own, he runs a nonprofit, he serves the community, he uses his life to help refugees that come from Africa, trans and queer trans folks. So, you know, I don't have to deal with the man asking me, why are you doing that? Like, that's not your problem.
Well, you did post him the other day. You want to tell the audience who he is?
Oh, I
Support
did.
his organization.
I did post him, yes, Adebayo.
Oh.
How you doing, baby? Yes, so no, he runs an organization called Erasure in Canada that helps with refugees. And yeah, like I'm going to be going to Africa for a month with him, going on
I know that's
vacation.
right.
Yes.
Wow. Where was part?
We're going to start in Tanzania in, what is it called? Zanzibar. and then we're going to places in Uganda. And I really want to expand the mission of Trans Tech to Africa as well, because as long as there's an internet connection, I can connect people to resources.
If there's something that you need to talk about there, but there's something that just popped in my head really fast because you're very open about post-op and dating, etc.
All the things.
And so I was just having this conversation with one of my girlfriends who is post-op. And we also had this conversation with the girls who were here prior about when do you feel is the right time to tell? And if you wasn't as visible as you are and you being post-op, when do you feel would be the right time for you to tell?
So this is my belief. I believe that disclosure is yours. It's yours to decide the when and the where. And it's all about responsibility. And I have learned the definition for responsibility as the ability to respond. So it's literally about knowing the space and the time to respond. This might not be the right space for me to have that response, to tell them these things. So for me, I go on dates. I do all kind of regular things without telling men that I'm trans. I don't do that as much anymore because of how visible I am, so that doesn't always work. But because my thing is, we should be able to go have coffee, have a whatever, do anything, and that's not me tricking you, that's not me whatever, because you're gonna ask me questions, and I'm be honest about those questions that you ask me. So if you ask me if I'm trans on the date, then maybe we'll get into that conversation, but that's not, and sometimes I ask them LGBTQ sort of themed questions to see where their mindset is at.
Yes.
But for me, whenever it gets physical, before it gets physical, that's where I want to say something. Now, 9 times out of 10, I usually say something on the car ride home, meaning meaning when I'm at a club, I'm out in the wilderness.
Right.
And men are coming up to me all the time. I can be in sweatpants. That's when they really come at me.
Yes,
and no
right,
makeup
right,
and
right.
hair pulled back and a
on
t-shirt.
your worst day.
Girl, so I want you girls to know, you cisgender women calling us men and doing all these things, sweetie, on my worst day, they're asking, how can they get in? So on my worst day. But what I will say is I'll talk to them there, have a great time, have them enamored with my presence, addicted to my fragrance. And then when I leave, we have a conversation. And I usually tell them right there in that conversation, because I don't need to go further. Because what I want you to know is you done met someone incredible, a once in a lifetime meeting you just had. So I've dated men, a black man who fell in love with me, but told me, I'm falling in love with you, but I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to explain you to my family and to my people. And I told him, don't worry about it. And broke up with him.
Oh.
Because if you cannot explain why you have chose me and why you're with Angelica Ross, you don't got no words.
I love the
She's
confidence.
smart. She's intelligent. She works hard. She, is not easily bought. She's beautiful. All these different, you can't come up with one. Go. Because I need you to immediately and emphatically and confidently tell people why you're near me. And if it ain't that, I don't want it.
Talk your shit.
Well, I think this has been great. I'm so glad that you sat down with us. This is definitely an honor.
Answer one more way. If you could call out one celebrity who is all talk and no action, who would it be?
Oh, shit.
She's looking at that cup.
A celebrity who is all talk and no action. Damn. I don't know. I'm gonna have to Wait, it's gotta be one in here.
To open another one up, you gonna be sleeping on that plane?
What is your dream movie role and who would be in your supporting cast? Okay, I love this. So honestly, and this gonna sound a little fucked up, but kind of my dream movie role is to play Omarosa. I think that would carry.
Yeah,
I think I would carry as Omarosa. And when you're an actor, you're not judging the characters you're playing. So you have to really bring a human side to it. So I think that would be a great challenge for me to bring a human side to Omarosa. But also, I think in that supporting cast, I don't know. I just would want, I always would want my people, wherever I can get them, to work. So for me, I would love to be privileged enough to be on a set where I can find roles for my girls, because I see other people who get a #1 on the call sheet and they get to bring people in. I want to be in a position where I can bring people in. Hopefully that's coming soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you would like to just speak on briefly?
Just briefly, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for the model that you are providing for folks in your own selves, even in being in this space of how to be yourself and not try to be chomping off of each other. You know what I'm saying? We just in a space where folks don't understand uniqueness is where it's at. Individuality is where it's at. And each one of you serve that up tens across the board. So thank you.
Thank you.
Leve, garçon! Leve, garçon! Hey, leve, garçon!
Well, this has, ladies, do y'all have anything? Because y'all really
No, I love this.
No, we good.
Okay, good.
But shouts to Freedom
I gotta
Riders.
go.
Shouts to Freedom Riders.
Freedom Ride, yes.
That is-
I heard that was amazing.
Okay.
Kudos to you for that. This has been a wonderful episode of Femme Queen Crazy
Sexy.
I thought that was my cue.
Deuces.
Shout out to everybody. I had fun.
I gotta be good.